So remember that idea is that is not the right way to worship me, saying Krishna. Don't go for your petty, silly desires to small gods here and there. That is also okay. At least you are on the path. You are not an atheist. That is better than not being, not devoted at all. But that's not right way. Then he goes, Ahami sarva yajnanam. Why? Because I am only everything. Bhokta cha prabhureva cha. I only preside over all the yajnas. I am only the enjoyers of all your efforts. So come directly to me, he says. Natu mam abhijananti tatve na atah chavanti te. He says, those who do not know me properly, they are the one who fall down. They go for silly things, they get that desire fulfilled, again new desire arises, then they go fulfilling that desire, and this life goes on like that. But once for all, if you come to me, I'll give you that yoga kshema vahamyam. You don't have to run behind anything. How powerful is this declaration, is this assurance? And what he says, yanti devavrata devan prityayanti pitravrata ya bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madhyajinopi mam. Some people worship small devatas for their benefits. Some people go to Pitrus, Pitru Yajnas we do, to our ancestors. We want their blessings to get through some problem. Then some people go to Bhutas. Bhutas mean these ghosts and goblins are there. These disembodied souls are there. Many of these Vamapagam, this Tantra is there. A lot of people invoke spirits and try to get their work done through those spirits. These are all, he says, those who worship whichever way, they will go to those destinations only. If you run behind these gods, demigods, you will end up with them. If you run behind ancestors, you will end up in Pitraloka. If you run behind these ghosts and goblins and try to control them and use them for your things, you will only be in their company. But those who worship me as the Supreme, they will come to me. That is what exactly he is saying. So don't be deluded by all these siddhis and all these kinds. Many children write, Swami, I had this premonition, I had this intuition, this happened. Is this spiritual progress? I tell them, no, these are all milestones. It may happen, may not happen. But that doesn't define your spiritual progress. The siddhis are not spiritual progress. Don't you run behind these things. At least these upasakas of Kali and all that are there. Especially Nepal and West Bengal and that side. Heavily people are invested in these kind of rituals. All these animal sacrifices, human sacrifices. I don't know what they're trying to attain. But they all believe that that is the only way. They're so convinced about it. Whereas Krishna here says, yes, you are convinced you will attain that, because whatever you have put efforts towards you, that is what you will attain. But don't run into these lanes and by-lanes. Go straight, take the royal route, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga. Come straight to me. Don't go stuck into these lanes, by-lanes, is what Krishna is telling them. And this is one of the most beautiful shloka as towards we reaching the end. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yomat bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Give me a flower, a fruit, a leaf, or little water, but give it to me with bhakti, with pure love. Bhakti is not just for the sake of getting a favor from God. It is pure love. In bhakti you only give. There is no getting in bhakti. There is only giving in bhakti. Love lives by giving, not by getting. Self lives by getting. So love for God should be to offer to God, not to seek something from God. That should be the idea of bhakti. And he says, whoever does that, even if they offer a flower, a fruit, or leaf, or anything, out of bhakti, again he says, out of bhakti only I accept it. Otherwise I won't accept it. I'll reject it. And I always say, patram means this body is the patram, leaf. Pushpam is hridaya pushpam, our heart is the flower, without thorns of lust and desires. Then phalam, all our karma phala, results of our actions, are the fruits. And toyam, the water, is not from the rivers. It is the tears that flow out of devotion to the Lord. That is the water that I seek from you. Not the tears that flow because we are in trouble. But tears that ananda bashpalo, out of bliss. With that, when we remember the Lord, we feel so blissful. And that's when we shed tears. Those tears are loved by the Lord, because they are born out of devotion. So give me anything with devotion, I'll accept it. Krishna would go and even steal things from Gopika's houses, butter. Why? Because he would say, and Yashoda would scold, I am the head woman of the village and we have enough butter at home. Why do you go and steal from those poor people? Their livelihood it is. He would say, your butter is full of attachment. You think you are the mother and I am the child and you are feeding me as a duty. Their butter is full of love, bhakti. I love that butter. Butter's taste is not different. But what is Krishna looking for? Pure love. That's why many times great singers and artists come here. Some of our musicians know. I have to really tolerate them because they're playing with ego. I cannot take it. It is just, just not to be rude to them. They're Atithi and we have to be kind to them. But our children sometimes they sing. They sing with pure devotion. It touches my heart. They may not be great artists. They may not be so accomplished. But they touch my heart. But when I see artists doing gimmicks on the stage to impress the audience and not to please the Lord, I'm not happy. That is why I love Tyagaraja. I love these great poet saints, Purandara Kanakadasa, name it. Their compositions are so pure. Mirabai, Tukaram, Namdev, Gyanadev. Beautiful compositions because they've come from purity. They didn't come to collect claps and cash. They did only to please the Lord. In the process, whatever happened, Yogakshemam Vahamyam, it happened for them. And they were happy with whatever happened. They didn't demand. It should have been a little more. That should not be the way. Once a child wrote to God, God, I have to pay my fee. I need 40 rupees. So he went and gave the letter to the postman. To God from so and so. Then postman thought, what does this boy want? So he opened the letter and read the letter. He said, I want 40 rupees, God, for paying my school fee. Please send it as soon as possible. This is my address. So postman thought out of love, papam. Pure boy, innocent boy. So but he checked his pocket, he had only 20 rupees. So he put 20 rupees and kept it. And next day when the boy came, he said, did the letter come from God? He said, yes, here is your reply. He opened, he saw 20 rupees. He said, God, I think you sent 40 rupees. This postman has taken 20 rupees out of it. Send me 20. Idea is, all I'm trying to say that when we don't demand from God, you see. We just pray and whatever He gives, 20, 40, 10, nothing, perfectly okay. When God gives, He knows this is right for you. When He does not give, He knows something better is waiting for you. He tells you wait, it means there is more time before you should give. Any answer from God is right answer only. No wrong answers from God. It may not be what we want, but any answer from God is right answer only. No is also right, yes is also right, wait is also right. No, nothing comes, silence is also right at that point in time. So remember this, and with that kind of bhakti and surrender we must have. Above all, bhakti is, as I said, Satvasmin parama prema rupa amrita swarupa cha yam labdva puman siddho bhavati amruto bhavati trupto bhavati. Become satisfied in the bhakti only. Not because he gained something out of bhakti, that's why he is not satisfied. He is satisfied because whatever has come his way, he is happy with it. That kind of satisfaction, that kind of complete happiness is attained by a true bhakta. All others will always struggle with bhakti because they'll think, I did not get enough favor from the God, others got. So what Krishna says that even if you don't have patra pushpa phalam toyam, what you can do, yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushu madarpan. Whatever you do, eat, whatever efforts you put, whatever you give, whatever austerities you perform, just do it for my sake. Can we not do this much if you don't have time to meditate, if you don't have time to do pujas, if you don't have time to visit temples or read scriptures? Anything that you do it for my sake. And why it should do it for my sake? Very simple. Shubha Shubha Phalairaiva Mokshase Karma Bandhanai. This will redeem you from all the results of those actions. Because you have dedicated it to me. See, the best way to get rid of karmas is, one, you realize your divinity. So everything happens under a great divine will, you have no sense of doership. Two, develop instrumentation. I am an instrument of God, God performs through me. But that requires some bit of surrender. We just talked about surrender and its complications. Third level, even simpler than that, Krishna is saying, just dedicate everything to me at the end of the day. You think you are only the doer. Because of you only it has happened, no problem. But at the end of the day, Krishna Arpadamastu, I offer all these things to you, good, bad, ugly, whatever has happened through me. That also is good enough. Can there be a more lenient God than this, you tell me? He is not insisting you realize yourself, only then you will be redeemed from your karmas. Two, he is not even saying be an instrument. If you can't be that, minimum you can do is just offer everything to me. You study, say, Swami, this is for you. Whatever comes out of it, I will be happy. I will put my effort and I dedicate it to you. This dedication to God is the simplest way of getting rid of our karmas. Can we not even do this much is the whole question. But the problem is when good things happen, we want to take credit. It's very difficult to say it's because of God. When something goes wrong, God's wish, so this is how it is. even angry with God. This is not the right attitude. When the son gets a gold medal, my son. When son fails in the exam, your son. Husband to wife. Now, this is not the way to treat God. God, good also is because of you, bad also is because of you. Everything is because of you. I simply dedicate all my actions. Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi. How beautiful. That's why I'm so enamored by Bhagavad Gita. I did not read it so deeply earlier. Now because I have to teach, I have to learn. And that is making me feel that the Vakya is true. What's the need of reading anything else if you read Bhagavad Gita? But you cannot read Bhagavad Gita on your own. Let me warn you or caution you. You will misunderstand it, you will misinterpret it. You need to read with a guru. That's why in our culture, guru is so important. Shastras, you should not just pick up and read just because it is in Sanskrit language and you know Sanskrit. No. You have to be learning it under the tutelage of a guru. That's how Shastras should be studied, not on your own. Everybody cannot be Eklavya. You must surrender to a guru and learn. So what he says, all the good, bad that comes out of your actions, completely I redeem you from that bondage. Why? Because you dedicated it to me. See, doctors are doing surgery. Sometimes they're very scared. They write to me, this case is too complicated. Please work through me. And I tell them, don't worry. Just do your best and leave the rest to me. Just offer it at the end. Sometimes children, though our mortality rates are very, very low, international standard, yet sometimes we lose children. What happens? The doctors are crestfallen. They feel responsible for it. I keep telling them, you are not responsible. When good operations you are able to dedicate to me, bad operations also you dedicate to me only. Why do you take responsibility for anything? Give both to me. I will handle it. You don't handle it. Then you will be free. But you must do your best. It should not happen that you don't do any efforts and say, God, you take care. That is not going to happen. One step you take, 10 steps I will take. First step is from your side. So that effort you put, sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mamu paishyasi. You will become a sannyasi, not the one who wears orchid robes and long hair, but the sannyasi who is freed from all attachments of doership and enjoyership. And you will become free. And what happens then? You reach me. How do you reach me? Not outside, inside. You feel that divinity within, and that's how you reach me within. So simple. Can't develop self-realization? No problem. Become an instrument. Can't even become an instrument, surrendered instrument, become the doer, but dedicate everything to me. And that's enough. I will free you from all your bondages. Can it get any simpler than this is my question? Even that we fail to do. And he says, see, people think I am partial to some people, I am favorable to some. It's not true, because some people worship and they get results immediately. Some people have to wait forever. Especially among the students it happens. Swami is not calling me, Swami is not talking to me, I am also equally devoted and all things like that. But what does Krishna say? Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha. I am not partial to anybody, I am equal to all. All beings, good, bad, everybody I am equal to. I have no hatred towards anybody, nor I love anybody more than others. Then what else happens? Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mahite teshu chamyam. Whoever worships me with pure devotion. Remember, bhakti is not impure desires, full of devotion, full of desires. It's desireless devotion. The one who has it, he is me and I am him, he says. There is no difference between us. Like the Gopikas became one with Krishna in their devotion. That is the kind of devotion the one who has. How can he ever need me separately from him? He will feel me within all the time. There is no separate need for meeting or talking, because they will feel me inside. That is the idea. He says, I am equal to all. Apiche sudracharo bhajante mam ananya bhag sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavastito hisa. He says, even the worst of the sinners, if they remember me and worship me single-pointedly, what happens? I consider them as sadhus, saints only. Even though they have been great sinners in the past, even now if they take to this path and remember me and surrender to me, I redeem them. They become saints to me. Why? Because their mind has now finally found the right way. Valmiki is the best example, isn't it? He did all kinds of sins, finally took to chanting Rama's name and surrendered to Rama. And look at what it became. A hunter became a rishi. And we read his Ramayana. So that is the power of bhakti. What kind of bhakti? Surrender. Surrendered bhakti, not transactional bhakti. Not the arti artati jignasu bhakti. Jnani bhakti is this kind of bhakti. And it is the way even the worst of the sinners can be redeemed. We have enough examples, but don't be too sure, because you may not be able to remember after committing all the sins. Don't think like Ajamila towards the end, somehow I'll remember God and He'll redeem me. No, Ajamila is just to encourage people. But that's not the way it happens, because the one who has not remembered God all his life, it is highly impossible that they will remember God in the last moment. In fact, last moments is when they cannot remember all the more because of all the physical ailments, issues, property issues, and other various issues. They will not be able to remember God. They'll remember some lawyer or doctor and die remembering them and become born again as a lawyer or a doctor maybe. But that is the issue with not remembering God all the time. He again, very beautiful assurance, Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chanti digachati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Another declaration of Krishna. This is like sixers after sixers, in this. What he says, Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Soon that person who surrenders to me becomes a dharmatma. Even if he is duratma, suduracharo, worst of the worst sinners. He also becomes a dharmatma soon, not late. How? And what happens? Shashvat Shanti Nigachati. He immediately attains permanent peace by surrendering to me. He attains permanent peace. Kaunteya Pratijana, he, O son of Kunti, declare it. Let everybody know. What? Name Bhakta Pranashati. The one who devotes himself to me will never be destroyed, will never come to ruin. What a wonderful declaration. But again, precondition, Name Bhakta. If you are that kind of devotee alone, you can draw this kind of grace. I always say, you can take only so much water as is your vessel, not more, not less. So it depends on your vessel, depends on your bhakti that you enjoy divine grace. And what is bhakti? Bhakti is not about asking things from God. Bhakti is simply loving God for what God is. That's it. There is no reason or season for bhakti. That bhakti, the one who develops, it never comes to a ruin. You take any example from anywhere, and I said, I am a living example. Nobody comes to ruin if they have surrendered to the divine. Last one, second last, I think. Mam hi partha vipashritya yepi syuh papa yonayoha striyo vaishyas tatha shudras tepi yanti param gatim. Little controversial shloka, but I would explain to you. It says, those who surrender to me and depend on me, even if they are born in lower wombs or lower life forms. Example, they might be born in a criminal's house, in a thief's house, thug's house. It could be in the house of some bad person. What is their fate then? Because they are unfortunately born in wrong places, they can't certainly attain this. But Prahlada attained Narayana. How? By same bhakti. Those who depend on me, surrender to me, even if they are born in lower births, even then I attain them. And a few words there, don't misunderstand. He says, Striyo, even if they are born as women, Vaishyas means those who are born as business class people, business-minded people. Shudras, those who are born in labor class people, they also attain me, he says. Why does he say like this? Those who are born in a sinful family, or born as a woman, or born as a business Vaishya Varna, or born in Shudra Varna. Because this knowledge was not accessible to Striyas, Vaishyas and Shudras in the past. See, always look at everything from the point of view of Desha Kala Parasthiti, time, place and situations. This kind of knowledge was not available to other than Brahmins in those days who were given this kind of knowledge. It was not available to everybody easily, especially to women. They were not going to the higher education like this. Some basic education was given to them. Because the culture was like that, so he is telling, even those who did not have access to all these karma kanda, yajna kanda and all kinds of things, by bhakti they can attain me, see. So it's a shortcut. You don't have to read all the subject, just few important questions. And you will pass, and you will not only pass, you will get highest marks too, because you have bhakti. So even if you are a dull-headed student, if you are a disinterested student, even if you are a student who has not attended most of the classes, if you surrender to the teacher, sir, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ questions ಹೇಳಿ sir. And if sir takes mercy, pity on you and tells you, okay, study these 10 questions. See, you saved all the unnecessary efforts. Likewise, I'm just joking, but don't do this to your sirs. So he says, Krishna says, even if you are a businessman people are always thinking about money, they don't think about God. In God also, they'll think, what can I get out of this God? Venkataramana Swami, Balaji is the best example. All business people go there. And what is the pact? I'm starting a new business, Balaji wine shop. In that, 10% share for you, 90% share for me. Please make sure that all people become drunkard in your name. But people do all these kinds of businesses in their names. Why this Vaishya Buddhi is like that? They always want money. In everything, in God also, they'll try to see what money I can get out of God. What is the use of such bhakti? Even such people can attain me, he says. Purandar Das, Maha Kanjus. He attained the divine. Then Shudras Tepi. Shudra means the lower caste. See, again, don't get into the controversy of this is lower, higher. Idea is that there was one set of people in the society who by nature were workforce, the labor class. Even if you put them in a class, they won't study anything. Even if you teach them business, they will make mistakes. But they are very good with their bodies and they will work hard and serve the society. They were also important. But they did not have access to this kind of intellectual knowledge, nor they had the aptitude for it. Even they, if they surrendered to me, they received me. Kanakadasa is there an example. He turned, they say Krishna turned around to see him. When he went for darshan, he was denied darshan because he was from a lower caste. In Udupi, the Krishna turned around to give him darshan. Kanakanakindi, there's the crack in the wall, the hole in the wall of the temple through which Kanakadasa saw Krishna. Till today, devotees go there, do pradakshina, go to that Kanakanakindi and try to see from there. So idea is that anybody can attain me with bhakti, such a sure short method. But bhakti is not transactional, it is surrender. And then he says, Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarashayas tatha anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. He says, if such people also can attain me so easily, what to talk about those who are born in good families, who have access to this knowledge, and like brahmanas, and those who are punya bhaktas, good devoted families they are born into, and rajarishis, those who are kings but with the mind of a rishi. Janaka like people. They will anyways easily attain me through this path. Even it is for those who are not born in such favorable situations, they also can attain me. Then what to talk about those who are born in favorable situations? Now what should I tell about our students in these institutions? You can attain this knowledge so very easily because you are in the right place. Even if you were born in wrong families, you ended up in the right place. You are a girl or a boy, it doesn't matter to me. Everybody gets to know this knowledge equally. You are Indian or foreigner, it doesn't matter to me. Everybody gets to know this knowledge equally. You are in which class of employee, it doesn't matter to me. You still get to know this knowledge from me. What a wonderful opportunity. Should we waste it at all is the question. So he says finally, Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. This world is full of temporariness and sorrow, misery. Therefore, give up this pursuit of the world and rather remember me all the time, because that's when you'll attain Shashvat Shantini Gacchati. You will attain permanent peace. Somebody comes and tells me, this is the problem at home. Somebody else says, this is the problem with my mother. Some says, my father is sick. Some says, my aunt is like this. My cousin is like that. I keep hearing this all the time. And this is nothing new to me. That's why I told the other day, in this world, if you face problems, then accept it, because this is how the world has been designed. If you don't face problems, then you should be surprised that what is going on. Otherwise, generally, this world is full of problems and misery, and you are supposed to be miserable only in this world. So there is no surprise in that. That's how the world has been created. So if you have miseries in life, just accept it, because that is how it has been created. And everything is temporary. Fortunately, all the miseries are also temporary. It means another misery will come after this. Now everything is temporary. The only permanent thing in this world is devotion to divine. That alone can save us from all this nonsense. So don't run behind the world. These are mirages that you're chasing. Nothing will come to you at the end. Moga, asha, moga, karmana, everything will be moga, waste, in vain. This is what Krishna is telling. And final advice to Arjuna in this chapter is, Manmana bhava mat bhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru, mame vaishyasi yuktaiva, atmanam matparayanaha. He says, oh Arjuna, so what should you do? Do this. Dedicate your mind to me. Don't think of other things. Then, mad bhakto, you become my devotee. Devotee means completely surrender to me. Madhyaji, worship me in all places at all times. Mam namaskuru, surrender to me. Namaha means no ego. Egolessly you become my devotee. Mame veshyasi, you will reach me only. Why? Because you become yuktatpana. You have become perfect in this process of surrender, worship, and constant remembrance of me. Once you perfect this method, then you will reach me, because you are completely matparayana, you are completely dedicated, devoted to me. There is no other way. This is the essence of Jnana Vijnana Yoga. Isn't it quite simple? Then now try it out. When you go back, yad karoshi, yadashnasi, yad juhosi, dadasi yad. Try it out, that every action, every thought and word, and deed, dedicate it to the Lord. Then what will happen, after some time you realize most of them are not even dedicatable, not even offerable to God. It means what? You have to change your nature. The way you think, speak, and whatever you do, you have to change. Why? Because this can't be offered to the Lord. It's not worth offering. No, patram pushpam phalam to anything chalta hai, we can offer anything with bhakti. That is not bhakti. What you're trying to do? You're giving soiled notes, counterfeit coins to God in temple, donating and thinking you're a donor. No, He won't accept it. He knows. Therefore, don't try to fool Lord. And now go back and check what kind of your thought, words and actions are there even worth offering to the divine. If not, then change yourself, because divine is not going to change. That is the way you will start progressing spiritually. See, there is a trick in what Krishna said. He will purify your intellect. He will purify your thought process. He will purify your actions. How? By teaching you to dedicate everything to Him. And you will feel so ashamed and say, this is something I cannot. The last fight I had with my husband or wife, how can I dedicate that to the divine? It was so silly and so egoistic on my part. That last selfish thought I had, it is so terrible, I can't dedicate it to the divine. The last time I did not work with all my heart, I cannot dedicate that work to the divine. Then you will realize you have to perfect yourself in everything. You have to purify yourself in everything. That is where to your spiritual progress. So it's not so straight. What Krishna said, He meant this, that He'll help you become purer. In that purity you will realize divinity. Therefore dedicate everything to me. Isn't it simple? It's a jnana, what you call guhyam, secretive knowledge. But at the same time I told it is open secret. But it will remain secret even after listening to it if you don't realize it. That is the whole thing. It will still remain a secret. That's the only way to do this, is to realize this knowledge, and it requires purity. If you dedicate everything to the Lord, you have to purify yourself, and that in that purity you realize your divinity, and you are freed from the cycle of birth and death. You can live in this world, the world will not live in you. You will enjoy the world will not enjoy you. And you will be ever happy, permanently peaceful. This is the benefit of attaining this knowledge. I've taken some time to explain because this is one of the very core of Bhagavad Gita. No, the center, even shloka wise, as I said, the chapter wise also it comes in the middle of Bhagavad Gita. But this is such a simple chapter, yet it is so deep and profound. And the declarations Krishna is giving one after the other, it is so reassuring to anybody. Even if you're worst of the sinner, you never thought of God, you never did anything good in your life, start now. It's never too late on the spiritual path. What an assurance. I will consider you as a good person, I'll accept you, redeem you. Who can say like this? Other than the Lord Himself, other than the Supreme. And what love and what compassion in those statements. That itself should make us love God for the compassion that He has for us, for the love that He has for us. So this is the way we must read Bhagavad Gita, by practicing it constantly. This is theory. Put it practically into practice in your daily life and see. I want to dedicate everything to God. My brushing, bathing, wearing clothes, reading, walking, talking, working, sleeping, eating, smelling, breathing, touching, tasting, smelling. I want to dedicate it to the Lord. And see how many unnecessary things will drop away from your life. If you are sincere, dridhavrataha, if you are determined, and yatataha, and person who is ready to put efforts. If you are not, then this chapter is not for you. Ashrata danas, they don't attain me, he says. It is a waste. Moga, asha, moga, karvana, moga, everything is waste then. So please put some sincere efforts. As I said, you are very fortunate to have already come in the satsanga, in a place like this, in this ashram like this, studying here amidst good people who are always teaching you good things. There is very little scope to do bad here because everybody is so good, everything is so good. In this place, if you can't realize divinity, where else will you realize? And when will you realize if you not now? So therefore I keep on insisting, please put efforts, please put efforts on this spiritual path. It's never too late, start even now, this is okay. But please put efforts, prayatno videyaha.